Welcome in, everybody. I'm coming to you live from inside of the Walmart logo, and I gotta be honest with you, I've been struggling a little bit in the Ultra League.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I'm remembering that fast attacks do basically no damage. It's a lot of charge attacks, a lot of swaps, a lot of maneuvering around, and I wanted to kind of build a team that reflected the mood I was in, which is basically in the pits. So I turned to Naruto and a little bit of inspiration from Gaara. This is a team that's going to be really fun to watch. We're going to play Corviknight in the lead with Runerigus and Crustle. Let's get it. All right, we're going to take on Dusty in this game at number 1. Dusty's going to lead the Regidrago, which is honestly the perfect place for it to be. And it really emphasizes the fact that I need to maintain control of switch advantage here. Like I said, Crustle in the back with that Runerigus. Opponent tries to swap into the Annihilate. I fire off a few more sand attacks before going into my Runerigus. Now, the trick here is that it's going to take 2 of these charge attacks to reasonably threaten my Runerigus, but my Shadow Ball is a lot slower than this Pokemon's Rage Fist. So maybe not that much slower, but at least a Shadow Claw or 2. Opponent does shield up the Shadow Ball correctly. They're going to go ahead and throw another Rage Fist here against the Runerigus. I'm going to go ahead and shield that as well. But as you can see, in spite of the boost, in spite of the additional damage, that counter is not really adding up at all on my Ghost and Ground type. Going to bait with a Rock Tomb, and we are able to take the second shield. Opponent swaps into Togekiss, and this is going absolutely perfectly. I don't care if this is Flamethrower. I don't care if this is Aura Sphere. I'm a Bug and Rock, and it's actually an Aerial Ace. So I'm going to overcharge just a little bit, take a couple of pecks for my trouble before throwing the Rock Wrecker, newly added to Crustle, annihilates the Togekiss there, which is awesome. They come in with the Runerigus, or excuse me, with the Regidrago, different R Pokemon, and I'm going to go ahead and absorb the Dragon Energy, no issue there. So I'm feeling pretty confident. I think I still have a bit of energy on the Runerigus, and I'm going to come in with the Corviknight, throw off the Air Cutter here. I don't have the rank 1, but I think this is like the rank 2, so really happy with this. Had a great Rookity community today. I think I've got over like 2,000 Rookity XL candies, so let me know how many Rookity XLs you have in the comments below. Opponent swaps in the Annihilate. I'm going to go ahead and shield. Oh, it's a close combat. I probably could have no-shielded that if I'm being honest, but that also reveals a lot about the moveset. No Ice Punch there, so my Runerigus was never really threatened by anything besides the Rage Fist. Gonna connect with the Shadow Ball into that Regidrago and then win that game number 1. So we're trying to climb our way out of the pits here. Let's see if Itachi's Crow can get it done. Typhlosion in this game number 2. I've got a few different ways to beat this. I've got the rock type damage on my Runerigus, and I have the Rock Wrecker, of course, on the Crustle, but I'm not strong against this Pokemon. This team, not very good against fire and also not very good against water. Two types that are more common than I would like to admit. So maybe it's not the best team for climbing, but I had a lot of fun with it either way. Opponent comes in with the Belly Bolt, and this little roly-poly thing has been the bane of my existence in the Ultra League. I really hate fighting this Pokemon. The Sucker Punch damage is so good. The Parabolic Charge buffs it so much. I've not seen a Belly Bolt fire a Zap Cannon in any of my games, but they don't have to because the Parabolic Charge is just that good. Opponent's going to come back with the Typhlosion. I'm going to try to time my Air Cutter here. If they're counting, they know this is not the payback. Opponent does shield, which is actually really good for us. Maybe a mistake on their part. I assume this is going to be Thunder Punch. I'm going to shield, see what happens. In case it's Blast Burn, but it is Thunder Punch. Opponent has the double up. I know this one for a fact is Thunder Punch. I'm going to no shield here. Corviknight takes that like a champ. Survives the Incinerate. Opponent tries to get cheeky with us, swaps into Zygarde, and this is going to be really interesting because Zygarde is such a neutral monster. I need to kind of like patiently work my way through this and not take any super hard-hitting damage in the process. So gonna go ahead and fire the X-Scissor here into the Zygarde. Opponent does have a charge attack. I'm thinking Earthquake, Crunch. Oh, Outrage. Yeah, I definitely do not want to get hit with an Outrage. Gonna try to build some additional energy and time it just right. You know what? I gotta go for the full Fury Cutter down in order to ensure that I have enough energy to fight this Typhlosion. I know they're 1 Incinerate away from the next charge attack, so I need to overcharge just a bit and then throw my Rock Wrecker. I think honestly, I want to do the damage calc on this, but I think the Rock Wrecker would have just one-shotted the Shadow Typhlosion outright, so I probably didn't even need to use the Fury Cutters there. My opponent did, I think, make a mistake by shielding up that Air Cutter early on in the game, but that's neither here nor there. Next battle, we're going to see a Giratina altered form in the lead. They swap into Blastoise, and this is where you have to get creative with this team. It's so it's so tough to team build. I don't know how some of the folks like Home Slice Henry or Jonkus do it so consistently, but team building for GBL is really tricky because you have to consider not only common Pokemon, but also common typings. And a lot of really successful players don't have strong answers to some of the most common typings, but they still find a way to make it work. So it's kind of like, oh, do you think about the typings in that way, or do you just kind of play your way through it neutrally and just outskill everyone that you're up against? I think it's probably a mixture of both, right? Giratina is going to come in. We're going to throw the Rock Wrecker into it. I know the X-Scissor is going to be resisted. Rock Wrecker is neutral. It takes about half of that Tina. Now we swap in the Corviknight. If they don't know what's up, they're going to get hit with the payback here. Corviknight connects, and that is a 2-hit knockout onto the Giratina. In comes another water type, and I'm starting to see that I am in trouble because Blastoise and Feraligatr in the back is going to be really tough to navigate. Gonna build up to the Air Cutter here. I expect my opponent to shield no matter what, so I don't know if there's like a really optimal thing to do here, but I do pull the shield and I do bank enough energy to get to the second Air Cutter. So maybe this was the optimal play, all right? I'll take it, I'll take it. Air Cutter pulls the second shield. Gonna try to outpace there to a move, but the opponent does get to the next Hydro Cannon. I need to avoid the catch. Opponent swaps in, throws in the Blastoise, so this is not ideal. Hydro Cannon will be super effective into the Crustle, and now it's all up to Runerigus, I guess, to farm down and to try to throw a Shadow Ball into the Feraligatr, but it's really close to double Hydro Cannons. I only got 4 Shadow Claws out of that as well. Ooh, I think they've got the double. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the Shadow Ball though on the Charge Attack priority, which is probably the best case scenario here. That first Hydro Cannon connects, Runerigus hangs on, in comes the Shadow Ball. This should knock out, and it does. Runerigus taking the win there for us against the Giratina double water team. We're gonna take on a bunch of numbers in this next one. They're gonna need Corviknight. A couple of ways you can play this. I recognize that 2 paybacks is not gonna be enough to knock out outright. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to go for the Air Cutter first and then hope that 2 boosted paybacks will be enough. Air Cutter does connect, opponent goes for a move. They had enough energy for the payback, so I kind of think that this is the payback, and it is. And you can tell right there by the amount of damage that it's just simply not enough. So I do think I played this right. I think I will win the zeros here against the opposing Corviknight. Gonna fire off the payback, and yeah, absolutely. I think the second payback will be enough, especially after the minuscule amounts of sand attack damage that have added up. Payback number 2 connects. Opponent is going to win the Charge Attack priority, but I know this is just an Air Cutter and it's not a third payback, so I let it through and I fire off the payback here. So if all goes well, we should win the lead here, which is pretty important, and we do. I'm thinking about the swap, and I do. I swap into Runerigus, and it's another freaking Blastoise, man. And they get even worse, they've got a Guzzlord in the back. I don't know if there's a way to win this game, especially considering the Blastoise banked energy before swapping, but I want to keep my Runerigus at least in this matchup as long as possible to do some damage. And I know for a fact that the Crustle's Fury Cutters are going to be super effective versus this Guzzlord, and will farm it down gradually, right? Because it has a monstrous HP stat. Gonna go for the Rock Tomb here. Into the Guzzlord, my swap is available, and I throw out the Corviknight to catch this dark type charge attack. Let's absolutely go. Crunch goes to the Corviknight. They actually undercharge, very, very clever. Get 1 single rollout on the Blastoise, and at this point, Runerigus and Crustle need to make some magic happen. I'm gonna go ahead and shield this Hydro Cannon, go for the Shadow Ball here, hoping that my opponent no shields this because I need to apply some damage, and probably should have baited there. I think the Rock Tomb would have been a better option. I'm running out of HP and shields, and you know what? I'm just gonna let Runerigus go, put it all on the back of this caked up Crustle. Crustle is gonna need to shield up this Hydro Cannon, and I'm trying to figure the math. Can I get to 2 X-Scissors before they get to double Hydro Cannons, and will the X-Scissors actually be enough? Hold on, Guzzlord comes in. Oh my gosh, was that the farm that we needed? We farm it down. 2 Fury Cutters into the X-Scissor here. If my opponent shields, I might be able to get the Rock Wrecker against the Blastoise. Let's see. They shield. Rock Wrecker fired off. Let's go. Crustle's able to win this battle. I know that Blastoise is tanky, but I also know this Rock Wrecker is enough. Sunshades are not. Blastoise is out of here. What a crazy end to that game. And in spite of my team, I still was able to find a way to win. Opponent's gonna leave Belly Bolt in this next battle. We safe swap the Crustle and they go in with the Virizion. So obviously the fighting is good against the rock, but the bug in the grass is where things get a little bit tricky. Gonna fire the X-Scissor here against it, and it does a pretty hefty chunk of neutral damage. I don't want to soak a Stone Edge here, so I shield. But they hit me with the Sacred Sword, and another nuance of GBL is just not knowing anything about the movesets. This could be a Leaf Blade Virizion. This could be a Stone Edge Virizion. I think it also gets close combat, right? So it's impossible to know. The opponent does throw another move. I try to call it, and a Stone Edge blasts me off the field, so I have to come in with the Corviknight. This is only 3 double kicks, so I know it's not another Stone Edge. I'm gonna let this one through and then overcharge a little bit more before I throw the Air Cutter, because I wanna take some additional energy into that Belly Bolt matchup later on. I mean, honestly, I probably could have just kept farming, taken another Sacred Sword, because it doesn't do that much damage, but I do like that my sand attacks are a little bit buffed, and you can see that Belly Bolt HP actually going down pretty precipitously, which is very nice. Gonna throw the payback here. Opponent uses their final shield of the game. I'm gonna try to swap into the Runerigus to soak a parabolic charge, but my opponent doesn't give it to me, and it goes from bad to worse because they have a shiny, nice flex, Galarian Moltres in the back, and even though the Rock Tomb connects, I'm taking so much damage from these sucker punches, and I have to give up my final shield because there's no way Corviknight is getting through this Dark Flyer. They throw the Brave Bird here. I think about undercharging, but I don't want to take any more Sucker Punch damage. I'd much rather take the double resisted electric damage from the Belly Bolt. So I'm going to go ahead and stay in this matchup. Parabolic Charge connects, and the Sucker Punches are really adding up. I'm just getting Sucker Punched off the map, right? By the Moltres, by the Belly Bolt, either way. There's really no way to win. I come in with the Corviknight, trying to get up to that payback. I am able to reach it. Opponent throws another Sucker Punch. This is fine. This is going to do some damage, but I don't think it's really going to be enough. It's absolutely not going to be enough after the Parabolic Charges. And we know this is going to be a 3rd Parabolic Charge. Nothing I can do about that. Thundershocks into the Runerigus. There's just not enough gas left in the tank. We are probably 2 Shadow Claws away from the Shadow Ball, so I guess you could argue it was competitive, but it didn't feel that way. Next battle, we're going to see a Cobalion lead. They swap into Drifblim. I'm going to go into Crustle. 5. This is 5 Astonishes, and I do need to respect it, but I'm going to go ahead and call it anyway, and this is an icy win. I have the Rock Wrecker ready to go, so I'm going to go ahead and fire this off. I guess in hindsight, I probably could have baited this, but I choose to throw the YOLO Rock Wrecker, right? Got a truck driving by. Icy win number 2, and I'm going to try to throw the second Rock Wrecker here into that Drifblim to try to bring it down. Fire this off. Opponent might shield, they might not, and they double shield the Drifblim, so I'm forced to come back into the Corviknight. Oh, and actually get to the payback here against the Drifblim. I don't know if this is quite enough because Drifblim does have an insane amount of HP, and they swap it to another ghost type in Dust Noir. Gonna go for the Air Cutter here against this Pokemon. Now that we've seen the full team of Cobalion double Ghost, we can start to strategize about what we're gonna do, and I really, really like the idea of Runerigus up a shield against the remaining Pokemon here. Shadow Punch does connect, but I'm able to get the full Sand Attack down. In comes the Cobalion. And I'm gonna try to catch, oh, I love this play. I'm gonna try to catch a Sacred Sword on the Ghost type, and it does work. Double resisted, in comes the Drifblim. I know that if I get to that Shadow Ball, I can knock it out. Icy Wind's gonna hurt, Shadow Ball's gonna hurt. There's really no easy way around this, so I shield no matter what. I do get to the Shadow Ball, which is really, really helpful. And now that that is going to connect here, I think it will knock out. And it does. Drifblim goes down. In comes Cobalion. They've got nothing left, and Runerigus is able to win that battle for us. Let's take on a Ascendron in this next game. They're going to lead Primarina. Steel versus Fairy typically is a good setup, so my opponent does swap into Talonflame. You can tell that I'm a little bit low on ELO because my opponents are using non-optimal moves. This is a Fire Spin Talonflame. You definitely want to play Incinerate when you have this Pokemon. It's just a better all-around fast attack, so try and TM it if you're still playing the Fire Spin Talonflame. They do shield the Rock Wrecker though. I'm gonna go for a second Rock Wrecker here. Maybe could have been a bit more clean on my timing because I do think I took an additional Fire Spin, and I did. I'm gonna no shield here. I know the Runerigus obviously has the Rock Tomb, so there's an additional way to bring down the Talonflame. We're gonna bring it in here. Opponent, I think. Wow, yeah, with Incinerate, I think you do get to that second move. If you don't, it's really close. Rock Tomb does connect. In comes the Guzzlord. I'm gonna try to stay in for a moment, gather some energy. The Guzzlord gets these moves so quick since he Dragon Tail buff, and this is a Pokemon I've been meaning to try in the Ultra League, but Brutal Swing and Dragon Tail is a really lethal combination. Gonna fire the Rock Tomb here against Guzzlord, and I'm trying to debate when to switch, when to go into the Corviknight, and I go immediately. Nice, that was the right call because my opponent does throw another Brutal Swing on cue. Brutal Swing does get soaked by the Corviknight, coming now with the Primarina, and yeah, maybe I could have done 1 or 2 extra sand attacks there, hard to tell visually, but I do fire the first Air Cutter. Gonna try to get my timing down right for the next one. I feel a little bit better about that. Second Air Cutter. As you can tell, we've committed to a strategy. We are not throwing Payback into this fairy type Pokemon, and this move is going to be the hardest hitting charge attack that I'm going to face for the rest of the game. So I do shut up the Hydro Cannon. 2, 3, 4. I'm going to make sure that I don't get hit with a 5-4 bamboozle effect here and throw off the Air Cutter. Opponent comes in with the Guzzlord. I'm closing in on the next Air Cutter, trying to get my timing down just right, and I fire this off. This is like my 4th or 5th Air Cutter of this series, and I got to do 1 more to win this game. Guzzlord probably going to be rocking Sludge Bomb, Dragon Claw, Brutal Swing. Any one of those moves is not going to hit the Corviknight very hard, so I feel very comfortable here as long as I can get to this final Air Cutter, which I do. That connects, Guzzlord goes down, and that was an Air Cutter spam for the win. Let's take on Sammy85, one of my friends here. IRL and also in Go Battle League, we're going to see a Cresselia lead. They swap into the Steelix. So I already feel pretty good about this setup. Steelix can run a lot of moves. Psychic Fangs, Crunch, Breaking Swipe, Earthquake, Heavy Slam even, for those that are Heavy Slam enjoyers. So I don't know what this is going to be. I assume it's Breaking Swipe. And it is, which is really nice. I'm really glad it's not the Crunch, but it does drop our attack 1 stage, which is no bueno. Another move coming through here from the Steelix. This will be a Breaking Swipe number 2. Sammy is going to stay in with the Steelix. I don't think its switch timer is up just yet, but I am able to fire off the Shadow Ball here, and it does barely any damage after the double debuff, so that's a feels bad moment, man. And I assume this is another Breaking Swipe, but I would be wrong. It's an Earthquake, and it takes out the Runerigus. So Sammy has effectively 1 swap, but I know that with Breaking Swipe and Earthquake, there's not a lot the Steelix can actually do to the Corviknight. So even though I lost control of the lead, I know my Bug-type Crustle and my Steel-type Corviknight both have a ton of play against that Cresselia. Breaking Swipe connects, and it just gives me some additional farm, which is really nice. And I do build another Air Cutter on the way down. In comes a Belly Bolt. My worst nemesis at this point in the Ultra League. I'm going to fire the Payback here. Even though I'm debuffed, I just want to deal some kind of damage to this Pokemon. And it does connect. I'm honestly just going to put it all in the back of the Crustle, but I do think I will try to save this Corviknight for a sacrificial swap down the road. So I do switch it out. I bring in the Crustle. Opponent comes in now with the Cresselia, and the confusions are adding up, but I know these X-Scissors are going to hurt. Bug-type damage is not something that you see very often in the Ultra League, and I think that's why this Crustle actually worked briefly, as it might have. Maybe a flash in the pan, a shooting star kind of moment, but this Crustle did work for me. Gonna try to build up to 2 X-Scissors here. I think that was pretty crispy timing, right? Hot and ready out of the oven, just like Cardi B said. We're gonna fire off the X-Scissor. It does pick up the KO. In comes the Belly Bolt. I'm gonna throw a blind X-Scissor into this Pokemon. And this one will also, I think that actually pulled the shield. Opponent does have the Parabolic Charge. I actually decide to no shield, which is a little bit shocking there. Maybe that was a mistake by me. Maybe I should have shielded there. But I'm going to go for the Payback here against this Belly Bolt. And I think that I've lost this game. I think I should have shielded, but I get to the Air Cutter at the very last second. Sammy, I'm so sorry that this nonsense team was able to bring you down. But that's what you get for playing Belly Bolt, all right? That's just what you get. That's what you get. But that was a really fun few battles. I think I played 2 sets with the Gara team. I don't super recommend it for climbing, but it's a really cool showcase, especially the Shadow Crustle, which I think is a very fun Pokemon, especially with its bug and rock typing. It breaks up a lot of cores in the Ultra League. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a like, and I'll see you in the next one.